Can you be heard? That's great. We're back. We're back and alive.
Sorry about that, everyone. That's technical difficulties. I mean, first two went so well. I'm going to blame you three for this.
And we're not going to repeat the song. We did that, and that's it. I'm afraid we're not going to do it again.
Okay, so starting off again, are you okay to just introduce yourselves and tell us the pathway that you are in charge of?
Hi folks, my name's Ed and I'm the Director of STEM at the college alongside my assistant Alicia. We're in charge of all things science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And unlike what Geoff said earlier, we're obviously the pathway that you all want to do at the college. So welcome to the college.
And I'm Geoff Willis, and I'm Director for CAP and HLL, and I'm assisted by Alex Parks, who takes special responsibility for HLL. We do all the creative arts subjects, the digital media subjects, the humanities subjects, and unfortunately you missed the initial introduction, but they are the subjects you want to apply for at the college.
And I'm Phil McPherson, I'm Director of all the pathways on the first floor in college. So they are business, finance and law, which is all the business and finance subjects along with sort of law and criminology, education, society and health pathway, which is social sciences, earth sciences and health and social care, and sport and leisure, which is PE, sports science, and public services. And I also have oversight of all the sports and enrichment activities, all the fantastic things that you can get involved in, hopefully when you come to the college.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. So we're going to start off with some questions that have come from social media last week. If you have got any questions for our fantastic three, then please do comment and we can ask them to answer the questions if they are curriculum specific questions. So the first one, feel free to shout out whoever wants to answer it. So the first one, how many subjects can I take at college?
I'll take that one. So we offer a range of subjects. So the basic requirement is normally 3, but if you are on a high achievers program, we do allow students to take 4 or even 5 subjects at the college. And that would be me and my other role as the head of high achievers alongside Gemini, Hasseldandy. So 3 is the majority, and that's what most students take in all 3 pathways. But if you want to take 4 or 5, and you can give us a good reason and your GCSE grades indicate that will be possible, we do allow that at the college. So unlike other institutions that might block that, we actually allow it if it's in your interest.
But I think adding to what Ed said, it's got to be in your interest. So the college tries to individualise your programme of study. Most universities, if not all, including Oxford and Cambridge, will only be looking for 3 qualifications. Yeah. So you'd have to give very good reasons why you wanted to do 4 or 5, but we do try to build a programme around you.
Okay. The next one is, what do I do if I don't pass my English or Maths GCSE?
There's a place for you at the Sixth Form College because we endeavour to accommodate and support all students. If it's just your English and Maths, then you could, in all likelihood, carry on with a level 3 programme of study. That's an A-level or BTEC programme of study, and we've got opportunities for redoing your English GCSE or your Maths GCSE alongside your 3 A-levels or your 3 BTECs or your combination. So that's absolutely fine. We do have students who do that every year, and typically they'd be very successful, and you would get that GCSE with us. We do also offer a program for students who haven't just not got their GCSE English or Maths. Maybe you've been unsuccessful for various reasons. Obviously, these are unusual times. We run a level 3 foundation program, 100 students more or less, and that's for students who are going to come to the Sixth Form College for 3 years rather than 2 years, and you do a foundation year where you get your GCSEs, which then enable you to access an A-level or a BTEC. So not a problem.
And we have got a new initiative this year, which is T-level transition. So if any of you want to hear more about that, that's if you want a career in the computer industry, you can tune in later on in the day for the T-level talk. That's T-level transition.
So I'm hoping to do 3 A-levels at the college. How can I prepare over the summer for these subjects?
Well, there are excellent resources on the college website for a start, and that would be the first place I would go to access, because all subjects have made available a wide variety of interactive resources, videos, links to the internet, activities to do, which would enable you to get back up to speed after what's obviously been a long time out of school, and give you a taster for those subjects and start to look at the skills. So my first starting point would be the college's own resources.
I think, I mean, I'd as well just sort of, look at what's going on in the world and just sort of read, really, get online, look on BBC News, if you're looking to study sport, get on BBC Sports, the papers, there's so much information that you can gather for that, and obviously a lot of it is linked into potential subjects that you might want to study with us at the college.
Yeah, I'd just add, you're obviously making the right sort of question to ask at this point, because one of the things that will make a difference to both your grades and where you go afterwards is if you can get ahead of the competition. You might not think about your friends and other people in other institutions like that, but actually with A-levels, they are percentile based. So if you're going to start working now, that will set you on well for the future. The only thing I would add to that is that you might have had a very definitive idea as to which three you wanted to do. I'd just say make sure you look into that. So ask what the universities want for that second or third A-level, ask what will help you in the future career. And if you do change your mind between now and the summer, that's fine. That's what we're here for. It's why, in the summer you'll come in for another course discussion to make sure you've got the right advice as to what that second or third A-level is that goes alongside it. Or even if it's, maybe one of the vocational courses appeals to you. We had some fantastic students this year progress to medicine from the BTEC in science, and that's, a good career move for them.
Okay, so we've got a message from Holly. So we were sent an email with a STEM video for reading and research, which mentioned an accompanying document. A lot, but I can't seem to find it anywhere.
Okay, I presume it will be on the college website as a link. I will have a look into that later on. If you could send some more details as to which subject it was from STEM, so if it was biology, chemistry or physics, I'll make sure that's sorted out for you, Holly. Thanks for the question.
Right, how many years do I spend at college?
2 would be the norm, because obviously a level 3 A-level or BTEC would be a 2-year program. As I've indicated, we do have a level 3 foundation program, which is for students who are either homeschooled or who didn't get the GCSEs they're anticipating, and they would do a foundation year with us and then progress onto our program. So 3 years would be not unusual, and 2 is the norm.
I've seen that some subjects you can do as an A-level or a BTEC. What's the difference?
The difference, and I'm going to defer to Phil, who's the expert on this, but I mean, the basic difference is in terms of assessment. So if you prefer to be assessed by an examination at the end of 2 years, where everything you've studied comes up for those exams at the end of 2 years, if that suits you, then obviously A-level is the route for you. BTEC generally doesn't put everything into a final assessment in June or July after 2 years. There will be coursework which was done over the period of time, and if you prefer to work continuously like that, well, then that's probably the ideal assessment for you. And then in some cases it will be just the choice of subject. So some subjects, for example in performing arts, they have to be BTEC, really. We do have a small number of A-levels, but most of them are BTEC, and that's because they're practical based. So it might either be the form of assessment or it might be the nature of the subject. And if you want to add, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, just the other things that sort of generally on that is, most of our BTEC subjects, or virtually all of them from September, will have a split of around about 40% external assessments, which are exams or controlled assessments in the same way that you would do, a normal exam in an A-level or a GCSE. But equally, like Geoff said, 60% is done through internal coursework assessment. The other thing I'd say is that a BTEC is what's called a vocational qualification. So basically what that means is that they're very much designed to prepare you for a career or the world of work in that particular subject area, and therefore a lot of the content, a lot of the learning methods and assessments are sort of tailored towards a career in performing arts or business or science or sport, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'll just add to that for the STEM ones. The only real difference between the two, other than the assessment, which Geoff highlighted quite well, is that if for example, you want to be a biologist, then you'll need to do A-level biology. If you don't know which area of science you want to go into, then the BTEC can get you into all the other versions of science everywhere. So we've had people progress to animal science at Nottingham from the BTEC in science, we've had people progress to pharmacy, people this year progress to medicine foundation from the BTEC. So if you definitively know that you want to be an academic biologist or chemist, then yes, you should definitely take those A-levels. If you don't know or you're unsure, then the BTEC can be a valid choice, and pick the one that you think you will do the best on based on your understanding of the assessment stuff. And that's what we're here for. Come and ask us.
Okay, we've got a message from Jasmine. So what other subjects would you suggest to do with environmental science and biology? I was leaning towards maths, and that will be music to Ed's ears.
It will be, but with biology, we have a recommendation for maths alongside biology. It's not a requirement. So you are allowed to pick something different, if that makes sense. I would suggest with biology to either maths or stats is the one that's useful, because in biology at the end of 2 years, there's a 10% of the exam will be based on maths. But that doesn't mean you have to, or indeed if you're thinking about doing a fourth, I'd say it links very well to, in probably Phil's area, which is geography or geology as well. I'd say the maths is a good first one to look at, and definitely do consider either maths or stats, because that's relevant to biology. But you might also consider geography or geology as well.
Okay, we've got a question from Maya. So if you choose a BTEC, which is equivalent to 2 A-levels, such as graphic design, do you have to choose one more subject or 2 more?
Well, again, as Ed said earlier on, that we would look at what your progression plans are, what you're hoping to do. The norm is to do 3 A-level equivalents. So if you're doing a double BTEC, normally you would pick up a single BTEC to go beside that to give you a 3 A-level equivalent, or indeed you could pick up a single A-level to go beside the double BTEC. In exceptional circumstances, and it would need to be exceptional, it would need to be based on progression, you could do 2 doubles, but the norm would be, the norm is to aim for 3. So if you do a double, you're thinking of another single.
The other thing I'd just say on that question as well is, remember, it's either Mia or Maya, sorry, pronunciation, but you can obviously combine BTECs with A-levels at college. So if you wanted to do the diploma in graphic design, then actually fancy doing an A-level alongside that, that's absolutely fine. Whereas some of the other providers in the area will say you're either on a BTEC program or an A-level program.
Yeah, the one in STEM is a triple BTEC, so you wouldn't have that issue in science. Some students do combine the triple BTEC in science with something called core maths. That would be an option in the second year of the program if you're on it. So it won't be an option for first year, but it will be an option in the second year. I'd echo what Geoff said in regards to, if you're going to consider doing 2 double BTECs, make sure you come and get some advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that would be 4 A-level equivalents. It might be relevant, if you're thinking about the digital games design, you're not quite sure if it's games design or if you want to go into art, then you might decide to do the graphics alongside it. But you could instead do the art A-level, I would guess.
The art A-level or product design A-level or photography A-level, any one of those 3 would be a very good fit.
So you don't have to, as Geoff said, just go down a BTEC or an A-level route. You could do the double graphics and then combine it with art A-level or photography A-level, and that'd be free without having to do the double BTEC.
Okay, we've got a question from Adrian. So I'm doing a double BTEC, graphic design and art A-level. Are those the right subjects if I want to go into illustration at university?
They would be an ideal combination, absolutely. And I guess something I'd want to say about that A-level combination is we emphasised earlier on that the BTEC has a lot of coursework, I think 60% normally. The A-levels in creative arts, photography, art, product design, they are very, as you'd expect, practical subjects. So in fact, they do involve coursework and controlled assessment type activities as well. So, but yeah, that combination would be absolutely excellent.
And I just echo that from a high achievers point of view, Adrian. What we often have, and what you're probably aware of, is most people who go into art would do an art foundation a year after they'd finished their level 3 study. This year at the college from a high achievers point of view, we've had people progress straight into university courses at the University of Arts London and the various other institutions. And that's because if they're picking, as you indicate you want to do, a number of art subjects, they can build up that portfolio, which means they could theoretically miss out that foundation year and save the university tuition fees. So I think you're right to pick those. Yeah. It makes sense if that's where you want to end up. And provided you put the work in and we assist you in this journey, you might actually save yourself some money by picking that as a third A level. So good question, good idea.
Okay. What is a pathway and who decides what pathway I'm in?
A pathway is really a group or cluster of subjects which are related and which typically would have a similar or overlapping progression route. So, for example, Ed's pathway STEM is the cluster of subjects all related around the sciences and maths, and students doing those cluster of subjects typically would have similar progression routes through university. They'd be hoping to do medicine, veterinary science, natural sciences, and Ed could say more. So think of the pathway as a group of your subjects, and so you'd be allocated your pathway on the choice of your subject. So you won't, for example, be doing product design and graphics and find yourself in STEM, because you'd find yourself in my pathway, the creative and performing arts, because that's the range of subjects. And that's because, as well as the subjects, we have coaches and coordinators, futures coordinators, high achiever coordinators run by Ed, where they are pathway linked, and they're giving you individualized support and guidance and advice on your future progression. So you want to be in the right pathway so that you're getting bespoke, individualized support in terms of your planning for your future.
Yeah, we use them as kind of a tool to kind of help you in the initial stages. So if you know where you want to go, then you should probably pick 2 subjects at least from a pathway, because that will then enable you to progress onto university or into a profession in it. If you're not sure, then you might pick a subject from each of the different pathways. And that could be fine, but for example, if you want to do medicine and you haven't got biology and chemistry, or chemistry and maths as well, then that might be an issue if you want to do medicine. It's not an insurmountable issue. We've had people in the past who progressed from RE, philosophy and English literature into medicine. It might just mean you have to go down a different route. So if you know what you want to end up as, then it should match with the pathway you've got at the college. And if it does, then when you're picking subjects, I'd recommend picking at least 2 from that pathway. And that way you'll be getting the right, as Geoff says, advice from the progress coach, from the high achievers coordinator, and from the futures coordinator. We have a team behind each pathway designed to give you the best advice and support on that journey to where you want to end up.
But equally, just looking at one of the questions that came up on the chat, again, I think from Mia or Maya, sorry, you know, we do have students who pick 3 different subjects and 3 different pathways, particularly those who haven't yet got, you know, a kind of firm career in mind, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, you don't have to at this point. You know, your teenagers, it might not be settled, that's fine. You don't have to have a firm one, and that's why have the conversation with the people in the second course discussion you have.
We've got a message from William. What will happen if I don't get the grades that I need, or you were slightly off for biology and chemistry?
Okay, so I think that's one for me. I think it depends what you mean by the grades you need. We don't have definitive entry quals here, unlike some other institutions. We have what's called guidelines. So for sciences, it's, you know, the maths grade and the science grade that we're looking at. And if you aren't at those guidelines, then what that tends to mean is, for the A-level, you wouldn't do as well on the A-level programme as you would on the BTEC. So I would say, listen to the advice and take the BTEC, because it doesn't block really anything other than straight biology or straight chemistry. And in fact, as I've said, this year we've had people into Medicine Foundation from the BTEC. So there isn't really a reason why, if you miss the grades, there isn't a course for the college. There is. If you didn't pass the science courses, then we do actually offer as part of Level 3 Foundation, and we do have some people who this has happened to in the past. We actually run the double science GCSE as a resit as part of the Level 3 Foundation programme. And in fact, one of the students who's from that programme is now got 2 offers for medicine this year. So it is possible. So I'm fine with what you will. I think you mean that if you just miss the guidelines for the A-level, well, listen to the advice and maybe either take the BTEC, or you know, we do allow exceptional cases to do what's called conditional enrolment. That could be fine. If it's that you miss entirely through no fault of your own or through, then talk to us about the Level 3 Foundation programme. We've had some tremendous success from that.
Okay. So we have got a couple more comments on there, and we will answer them shortly, but we are going to move on to our very competitive game of gender. Now, Ed, Geoff and Phil have been preparing themselves mentally for the last week or so to play this game. So what's going to happen is that they are going to take it in turns to take a gender block. As they take the gender block, we are going to ask them questions. Now, I've got sets of questions for all three of them. Members of their team and their teams and departments have helped with these questions as well, so hopefully they will be able to answer them. The loser will also, well, the two losers will also have to do a forfeit, which they didn't know about. And the person that gets to choose the forfeit is the winner. And they have to complete the forfeit by the end of term. And please don't worry, we will be recording it and we will be putting it on social media for you guys to see. So, as I was speaking to Geoff about this gender game, he said he wasn't sure about the rules. So we have got the rules written down for them, but for anyone that doesn't know the rules of gender, members of staff have to take it in turns to take one block and place it on top of the tower. The first block that they touch is the one that they have to take. You can't take from the row below the uncompleted block. And the game ends when the tower falls. Just some additional rules as well. So we will take it in turns. Each of them have their own sets of questions, and I'll read the questions out. And we'll try and get a couple of games in, but with us being short time, we'll see how we go. So, who would like to go first?
Come on, I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Okay. Is this going to be the quickest ending game ever?
We'll see.
We'll see. I have to use the same hand, don't I?
Okay. Geoff, your first question is, tell us an interesting fact about yourself.
Oh, that's harder than the Jenga. Well, I could tell you a couple. Well, previous careers, I've worked on a sheep farm, which was ideal for preparing me for teaching, because chasing sheep is a bit like chasing staff and students. That's great. And something you don't really know about me, Georgia, I was once a star on local radio, and that was a different career. You can't tell from the today, but I once was a star broadcaster on local radio. They are two facts.
Go
ahead, go on.
This one. Interesting. Oh. I'm not trying to take two, but I think two will come out. Does that count as a fail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
I think that's going to be automatic forfeit, I'm afraid, Ed.
It's not working.
Engineering,
That's all right. Yeah, engineering is, but we it's physics and maths you have to do if you want to engineering. Good prompt though, Phil. Good prompt. I've managed it. There we go.
Oh.
Nervous.
Okay, Ed, your first question is, what couldn't you live without?
Oh, thanks, Ed.
That's a good question. I would say Seabrook's prawn cocktail crisps. As a generic and interesting answer. They are the best crisp flavour ever. If you've not tried them, I would encourage you to do so. Sorry, marketing.
Other crisps are
unaffiliated with Seabrook's. Other crisp flavours and brands are available. But yeah, Seabrook's prawn cocktail crisps. I should really say the children, but I've said Seabrook's prawn cocktail crisps now, so I'll leave it to that.
Just putting a disclaimer in, I do have an injured hand, so I am having to use my weaker hand.
Oh.
So it could affect performance.
Okay, Phil, your first question is, why did you become a teacher?
I think for me it was sort of very much a lot. My background, my subject area is sports science. Hugely sort of enthusiastic about playing and coaching, and therefore becoming a PE teacher was just a logical way to keep on doing something that I absolutely love.
Okay.
Oh, you touched it now, Geoff. Live and learn. Don't. It's not moving at all.
Somebody's used
This could be the
glue.
shortest game in January.
Somebody has used glue. Hang on, am I allowed to go around the other side?
Yeah, as long as it's just that block
Of course, I wouldn't cheat.
on the ropes.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oh!
Now, if that was on camera, somebody might have noticed infringement, but otherwise, fine. Right.
Okay, Jen, I'm going to tie in Jeremiah's question.
Oh.
So, if a student wants to become an art teacher, what subject should they study at college?
Art A-level, for sure. I think then, Jeremiah, you've got a certain amount of freedom. And my advice to you would be to choose those subjects which you most enjoy. You've got a clear progression path. You want to go into teaching, you want to go into art teaching. Clearly the necessary qualification there is the art A-level. You're not really restricted in your other choice of the other two A-levels. You could choose subjects which complement it, like photography or product design, or you could choose other subjects. You could choose from within the HLL area, art, English, history. They would be excellent qualifications to combine. Would give you flexibility when you went into teaching. Head teachers are quite good at wanting staff to teach several subjects, so you'd have other things you could offer. But my advice to you would be to choose those subjects that you're going to enjoy, because it's 2 years of your life. Sixth form college is great, but you need to enjoy it, and if you enjoy it, you'll be successful.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time now to finish, Jen, but that does mean that anyone that is viewing now, you can comment and suggest some forfeits for all three of our directors. So feel free to comment and we'll get back to you and let you know what their forfeit is. Just before you all go, I'd like to say thank you for participating. If there is one piece of advice that you could give to applicants, what would it be?
Mine would be come back later to hear more about the T-levels and the MDV Society if you're interested in medicine. So stay online. There's a couple of sessions extra later on and stay for the day and you'll get the best advice possible. But listen to that advice.
Mine is just carry on doing what you're doing. Come to the college. The college has a huge range of subjects to offer you, has excellent support, wide range of interesting and creative staff who are very experienced. Do it. It's the best thing you can do. Get your qualifications here. It will set you up for life and you'll enjoy it.
I think mine would be basically pick subjects that you enjoy, because that's what's going to motivate you to do well. And when you come to the college, just really make the most of the opportunity and get involved with everything that you possibly can in your 2 years or 3 years here with us.
And also, I'd feel free to email us if you've got any other questions that we haven't managed to answer on Facebook. So you can email us on first name, surname, @SFC is fine, and we'll answer any questions that you haven't managed to.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. If you want to do a wave to everyone.
Thank you. Be kind with the forfeits.